Airbnb not only abandoned hosts with their new algorithm update, but they've been doing it for the better part of the year, and they've gotten away with it. I have undeniable proof in this video that you could be the best host for the last 10 years, and that will not save you from the new Airbnb algorithm moving forward. I've been a host for 10 years. I've made tens of millions of dollars on Airbnb, and I can tell you, this is the bravest, most sneaky change that Airbnb's made to the algorithm yet. And can you believe how we found this out was guest favorites? Buckle in, let me show you what's going on. Welcome back, Airbnb family. My name's Sean Rockich. My students have made over $1 billion. I help hosts be the top 5% in any market. And if you're not a host yet, I teach that too. To catch you up, Airbnb's algorithm has been 15 plus years in the making, and it all started with superhost. Superhost was a way for a guest to know that a property and the host was the best property/host in an area. It applied not only to the listing, but the host account above it. In order for a listing to have superhost, not only did the listing have to be good, but the host had to qualify as well. And this is where guest favorites come in. Surprise, surprise, guest favorites was just a guinea pig deployment to test a new back end of the algorithm that will decide the fate of Airbnb hosts for a decade to come. To prove what I'm gonna tell you in this video, I had to take two separate accounts. One where the host is a 4.1 and one where the host is a 5.0, and take the same properties in the same building and test how well they're booking out. The property under the 4.1 host account has a year plus of booking data, and the one with a 5.0 has about a month, so the listing itself is new. And I can promise you this is a plot twist, because we would all assume that a host account where the entire account is 4.1 should underperform a host account that is a perfect 5-star rating. But Airbnb's guest favorites was the beginning of uncoupling host data from listing data. And now a listing, even on a terrible host account, can survive. And a bad listing on what was a perfect host account for 10 years is still destined to die if it's destined to die. There's not enough 5-star reviews on other listings that can save an individual listing from Airbnb removing it from the platform. And guys, this has blown my mind. Let me show you these two listings so we can start to break down what's happening with the algorithm. Here in Guesty, we've got two listings attached under two different host accounts. These are studio apartments, so these don't get booked with much lead time at all. But the one that is outperforming currently in this market is the one that is on the host account that has a 4.16 or 4.17 star average. And the one that is performing less so is the one that has perfect 5-star reviews, and the host account has perfect 5-star reviews as well. Let me try to explain what's gone on with the algorithm. Way back in the day, Airbnb wanted to build trust and build adoption at the same time. Airbnb in 2013, 2014 had a campaign where they said stay with a host. And staying with a host was their unique value proposition against hotels. It wasn't really unique or big or fancy properties. It was that you could actually meet the host. Superhost was the best moniker, best angle to combine quality of experience with the fact that the host was amazing. And it was an incentive for hosts to do all the things Airbnb wanted you to do. Airbnb says if you jump through all these hoops, we'll give you the Superhost badge. That still to this day does work as an incentive for hosts, but it's lost a lot of its functionality because Airbnb has now realized that what they need to give people isn't trust in hosts, but trust in listings. If you can see where this video is going already, give it a like. I'm running 6 businesses now, so pardon me, we're moving fast, let's go. Running 6 companies, I can tell you it's more important than ever that I have my finances in order. I had to drop Chase Bank, by the way. I've switched my accounting from Chase Bank and my banking to Relay. They're a banking technology. I can start a new business like the one I just started last week, which is the B&B Photo Factory. I can give my LLC formation documents to them through a computer, and they will approve it and start a new bank account for a new company without having to go to a branch. And if I need to start 5 or 20 bank accounts for that business, I can do it from my phone now. It's so easy to run. If one of my accounts gets compromised because an employee steals something, I can shut the account down. Or where certain key accounts empty every day. So I can have one master hidden bank account that holds all the money, and then my employees can have operating funds in one account, or I can have an accounts receivables account or an accounts payables account, and they only have money during business hours and they wash out. So nobody can steal my money overnight. If you guys know my mentor, Rodney, who's the only reason why I'm a business owner now, I was in the Big Brothers Big Sisters program, his accountant stole $35,000 from him and then fled the state of Wisconsin. They never caught her. He decided not to pursue it. He was a real nice guy, but I decided never to let that happen to me. So I've always worked with Chase Bank because Chase Bank's got great fraud protection or whatever. They're just a big fat bank. But they've been keeping $500 a month from me in transaction fees and account management fees, and it's been just a big mess and too expensive, and they're also a little bit too bureaucratic. They cannot move fast enough for companies like ours. So again, I switched to Relay, a banking technology that gives me all the safety nets I need, but the speed I need as well. If you want to learn more about Relay, there's going to be a link down below. Click that link and get started. I'll see you guys. Back to the video. And Airbnb started having problems when people like me showed up, which is people who wanted to have dozens of properties at the same time. You could be carried as a superhost with 9 of your 10 properties. As long as you didn't cancel anybody's reservations, your average score was really what determined whether or not you were a superhost. So I could have 100 properties and 5 bad ones, and I would still be superhost everywhere. And in manufacturing, there's something called errors per 1,000. And if Airbnb had a bad reservation per 1,000, maybe 2, they'd be fine. But if 5 to 10% of all reservations are bad, then guests won't come back. You actually lose the guests. This is a key difference than in manufacturing, because a machine will still continue to print components or parts or whatever. Some of them will be bad, we throw them away. The customer never has to see them. But the errors in hospitality drive customers from the Airbnb platform to another provider like VRBO or now Marriott, Homes and Villas. It was a combination of factors that led Airbnb into the tight spot that they're in today. As I alluded to like 20 seconds ago, Airbnb had to balance trust and adoption. Somewhere along the way during adoption, they stopped running into early adopters, hipsters, progressive people that are counterculture, that are just happy to stay in something that's not a hotel. They started to pick up the hotel customer base or the hotel audience. And those people wanted something different than the early adopters wanted. They wanted a good deal. They wanted perfection. They didn't care if a host was a small business. They wanted to have their cake, eat it too. They wanted perfect service. Combine that with the Airbnb bust after the COVID boom. COVID led to this revenge travel situation where Airbnb had a value proposition, which was that you had privacy, your own front door, less likely that COVID-19 would transfer, all sorts of stuff, and rural properties boomed. And then investors and business owners got greedy. They're like, wow, we can make so much money in Airbnb, and everybody flooded the space with inventory. All of a sudden, we had a bloat of inventory, lots of new hosts, but those hosts were, third party to the game. Real estate investors don't want to run their own Airbnb business, so what was it? It was inventory controlled by co-hosts. Enter stage left, guest favorites. And I'll be honest, even I got this wrong. Initially, when guest favorites came out, I thought it was just a slightly more strict or slightly slower way to find out that a property was good. But I didn't realize that guest favorites has nothing to do with the host account at all. All you have to do is have a property that's reliable, have a property that's consistent, has a property that gets good reviews. I've been studying the algorithm for years. If you saw my last live stream, I talked about how a year before Brian Chesky confessed to it, we found out that the Airbnb algorithm started to change the way it tracked listings to be more like an Amazon sales funnel for a product. My students, we completely changed our listings, as you can see also in my webinar re-algorithm, and we started to outperform everybody on Airbnb. And now Airbnb let the cat out of the bag that they want to be like Amazon because they announced that they want to do something called services, which they recently released. But that's for a different video entirely. And over the years of my study of the algorithm, we started to see that Airbnb was peeling away its relationship to individual hosts and was looking for star properties. Some other changes they made in the algorithm is if you're on VRBO or Booking.com and you are getting bookings from other channels, they don't punish you as much as they used to because they realized the best listings are multi-channel. And if they wanted to spite you for getting half your bookings on VRBO, then they would get 0 days of you booked because they would put you far down the algorithm. And Airbnb wants the best listings at the top. So they've been forced to share. Guest favorites is an evolution of that. But again, it was just a test to see how this new algorithm would do if they really uncoupled Airbnb hosts from listings almost entirely. So the summer release, just a month ago, completed this change. I believe we are full send in a new era of the algorithm where Airbnb has abandoned hosts altogether. They don't care about the host, they care about the property and if it's well run. In the way that they've created the circumvention policy where if you have a property that gets taken down and a new host takes over the property or a new owner, Airbnb won't reinstate the listing's address. You could buy a property that was banned and Airbnb will still tell you, no, sorry, we don't care if you're a new host, we're still banning the property. And to make this all way more confusing, if it's not confusing enough, Airbnb added what I would call a temporality lever in their algorithm, which is that the most recent reviews matter. So you could have had 4.1 stars because you had, say, 2 bad years of being a host. And then you could all of a sudden have better reviews over the last 3 months. And if all of your reviews are good in the last 3 months, you might as well be a 5-star host, because Airbnb is tracking the very most recent reviews to see if you are currently actively doing a good job. They don't care about your past. You might as well be an OnlyFans model. Too soon? And here's the final change that I think will blow your mind. Airbnb has moved away from being what they used to call an interest algorithm to more of a satisfaction-based algorithm, or a full funnel algorithm. And what that means for you is your new listings no longer get a new listing boost. They no longer boost a listing and then maintain its interest with views and clicks and stuff. Views still matter overall in the total equation, but Airbnb's listings now, here's my thesis, because this is brand new stuff. Stay tuned for more, of course. My thesis is it's like a credit score. In your life, you start with a credit score, and it can get worse as well as get better. I believe that Airbnb automatically shuffles listings in accordance to their current score and then other right-fitting metrics based on a person's search and a person's history of what they used to book. But your listing can start with an average or average high score, and depending on the views and clicks and the funnel performance and your reviews and everything, that listing will either go up or go down. But they've designed their search economy to no longer rely on an initial boost, because they're not relying on interest metrics to keep a listing in the shuffle. Does that make sense? But on the little data I have on this, I think they are doing something different than a boost, but still kind of counts. I think they're being lenient with completion of a listing initially. When I launch listings now, the first 48 or 72 hours, I can get a good amount of bookings right away. But then if I do not complete the listings, text boxes and amenities stuff, which is now in the photo tour, we're going to do a different video on how to complete a listing in 2025 in the future. Stay tuned. Comment if you want a copy of that. Maybe I'll just send you guys a message with the video when it's ready. But as a listing gets older, I think they expect you to do more things correctly. And so they'll give a new listing like a very short window of time to be incomplete, and in good faith, shuffle that into the deck. But you have to get your act together within a certain period of time. Otherwise, you start to settle down, because the algorithm does look at listing completion as a way to decide if you're being a compliant host or if you're trying your best. So if you forget to mark all of your amenities in the photo tour after a period of time, I do believe that your rank does go down, but it doesn't happen immediately. And yes, all of this does absolutely change how you should run your business, how you should create a listing, what listings will do the best, what amenities will do the best. Everything changes when Airbnb changes their priorities. Of course, VRBO, Booking.com, Marriott Homes and Villas, they don't change nearly enough. So there's going to be some timelessness here always. But if you want to stay on top of the Airbnb algorithm, you have to stay on top of this stuff. And yes, property type and consumer trends, travel trends, they do matter. If you want to stay at the very front of this, learn all my market research techniques, my pricing strategy techniques, how I stay in front of the algorithm, I invite you to my program, Cracking Superhost. We have 7 coaches, not just myself. I'm not the only smart one in that room, but you get access to me and all other coaches. And our students in that program have made over $1 billion, and they're in 42 separate countries. We see absolutely everything. There's not a mentorship program on the planet that has more vision, more context, more insight. And I'll also stake my name on the claim that there's not another program in this space, or any other industry for that matter, that does this much one-on-one coaching. I do my coaching every Saturday for up to 8 hours a day. I have students who've gotten at least 50 hours of one-on-one coaching from me since joining the program. They get a lot of time with me. So if you've got problems no one else can solve, good, come and find me. The harder the better. I need a challenge. I'd love to see you guys there. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way through to the end. You're my favorite people. And as always, I'll see you on the other side.